Any other questions, you fine, beautiful people out there whom I love dearly? Not always patient, but I love you dearly. Count on that. And I'm not going to make any excuses for my impatience, but I did quit swearing 4 weeks ago, and I've done real good with that. All right. All right, who do I got now?
You ready, Mr. Hall?
What?
You ready, Mr. Hall? My name is Karl Lentz. I'm on Angela's show sometimes.
Karl, how can I be of service? What question do you have?
Well, you were a great service to me last year. You showed me how to negotiate lawsuit settlements. That worked out really good. And
so you had success with some direction there then?
Yes, sir. What you did is I wanted $30 million. They were willing to give me $1 million. You said that does not negate the fact that there's still a $29 million debt outstanding in my belief. So that worked out good.
So you collected a little money?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Oh, I'm still going for all of it. But that was a great advice you gave me, because if I modified my claim, I'd been committing fraud. So I was trying to figure out how can I accept something less than 30 without committing fraud.
Okay, then. What can I help you with tonight?
Okay, well, then the other thing I always could think of, you always use that Matthew 16, 17, 18, and say three times you go to court, I guess you're trying to say.
No,
yes.
Well, in a sense, yes. And it's Matthew 18, verse 15, which says, go to your brother privately. So you do a 3-part administrative process with your brother.
Right.
Then it says if that don't work, then you take a witness and you go to your brother. And if that don't work, then you go to the church. The court. So there you go.
And if that doesn't work, but what's bad is if you keep going down to 22, when Jesus
Who said that wouldn't work? There's no way it's not going to work, my friend.
No. I'm saying if you go down to number 22 there in Matthew, it just says Jesus saved until 7 times 70. So he wants you to go 490 times and try to work it. He doesn't ever want you to go to court, I'm saying. He's saying always try to settle with your brother. But that's not what I call it.
I think that's pretty good, except you know what? Since we have an agreement with our brother, we're not suing him or anything. We're just going to get a public judgment that says, hey, this judgment holds.
Well, the other thing I didn't really like is when you say to people to take I think you're trying to say take a guilty plea as long as there's no bail time and all this other stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Well, let me tell you what I was saying earlier. Let's say you were indicted, my friend, right?
Yeah, on what?
You did some paperwork.
Okay.
What does the judge want from you when you go into an arraignment? Does he not want to know, did you get the charges? Do you understand the charges and how you want to plead? Is that not true?
First, I'd ask him, can I see the verified charges?
I didn't ask you what you would do. I asked you if he wanted to see those things.
He would want to see them from the prosecutor, yes.
Answer me this, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Is it not true at an arraignment the judge wants to know if you got the charges, do you understand the charges, and how you want to plead? Guilty or not guilty? Is that true or false?
I'd say, what is the nature of the party in whom this court seeks?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the classic example of what sets me off. Okay. I ask a question, and he refuses to answer my question.
I had to answer.
He refuses to deal with my question. Now you understand, ladies and gentlemen, by the time some of you get to me, I'm incensed because they do it with all sorts of dumb, silly things. My brother, please listen to my question. At an arraignment, is it not true the judge wants to know if you got the charges, do you understand the charges, and how you want to plead? Guilty or not guilty?
I'd say to the honor, I would say to the honor, can I please see the verified claim in which I
Is that right or wrong? Yes or no? Don't tell me what you would do. I didn't ask you what you would do. I asked you simply, is that true or false? Answer it.
Then you did not read my paperwork that I had before the court today, do you, sir?
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. We got a guy here who will not listen so that we can help him. Now you could see what goes on. Isn't this interesting? This is the most interesting guy I've got tonight. What is your question?
I did submit my answer to the court prior to the arraignment. Did you not get my paperwork yet, or did you need me to rewrite it for the court? Because I will not speak in court orally. My words only come through in the written form. It stays on the record.
You have a question for me?
For you personally, yeah, I was asking you. I said, why would you want to plead guilty? Like, say, if you live in a 3-strike and you go to life the rest of your life in jail, like California, why would I want to give them an easy win? And then maybe I do mess up 2 more times in my life, jaywalking or shoplifting. That's a felony, and then I go to jail for the rest of my life. Why would I ever want to plead guilty to a felony charge?
Did you listen? Well, I can tell you right now we're going to have trouble with this guy, ladies and gentlemen, because he don't listen.
That's
so, forgive me. Work with
me
here. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you, but try to listen. Do your very best. I don't know it's going to work, but you try hard. Listen to me. What does the word guilty mean?
If it's coming from anybody other than another man, I don't understand their legalese language. If it's another man claiming not
Let me ask you a question, my brother. Do I not promulgate that when a judge wants to know guilty or not guilty, that he's just simply asking, do you want to pay or not pay? Is that not true? Is that not what I say? Yes or no?
I say to the judge, who's the verified claimant, who's claiming that I owe him a debt?
Cut this guy off, John. He can't even answer a question to save his life, and we're wasting everybody's time. Anybody else got a question? Sorry, brother. You just won't answer the question so I can teach you anything or anybody else. I don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it, but, what it is what it is. Forgive my shortness with you. I just ain't got any time to deal with somebody who refuses to answer a simple question.
Just wants to argue.
Time and time again.
Yeah, Gordon.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. The judge just wants to know who you are. He wants to know if you got the charges. And if you understand the charges, you're saying you'll support them, you'll pay the charges. And then they ask you what you want to plead, guilty or not guilty. And if you say not guilty, then you're refusing to pay. You just got done saying that you understood the charges, you would pay, so you're in contempt of court. He's going to lose every time. He just wants to fight.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Essentially, that's correct. When he says guilty or not guilty, are you going to pay or not pay? Why would I want to plead guilty? Because I just got done telling you. So long as there's no prejudice. See, do you want to buy my Honda Pilot for $1 million? Not if I got to pay the $1 million now. I can go buy a brand new one for $38,000. I'm not stupid. But you can't buy one. But if the terms and conditions are nothing down, nothing for 100 years, and non-recourse, then I'll take the Honda now and I get to rent it out, abuse it, use it, and I got it for free. So if I plead guilty, so long as there's no prejudice to the defendant's rights, titles, interest, licenses, no jail, no probation, I didn't give anything. So there it is. Next question.
Mr. Gordon.
Yeah?
It's me. It's just Karl. And just asking a simple question, like say he was saying that you are charging me with pot or cocaine or embezzlement or anything. Why can't I just say, where's the verified claimant who is prosecuting this case, and why can't I have the verified claim come forward into the court for my reading and inspection?
You can do that.
That's all I asked. So there's no need to plea until I actually see a verified claim.
You could also tell the judge, go fuck yourself.
But
and you could tell him, kiss my ass, or you could do those other things you said too. So I'm just telling you, you can do whatever you want in there. I didn't say it was right.
Because the only way a verified claim can appear in court would be if a man would have to testify under oath of affirmation that it's true. An attorney
My friend, you do not understand, Karl, that they do. You in this society are guilty until proven innocent. It's a military government.
But I'm not in that society. They have to prove for us.
I'm sorry. Let me ask you a question. You got a driver's license?
No, I got a commercial operating license, but no, it's not.
Where'd you get it?
It's a commercial, and I'm not operating it at this moment in time. I'm only doing.
Where did you get the license? Was it government issued?
I got it from some Department of Motor Vehicles, whether it's a government agency.
There you go. You took a benefit. You're damn well in this society.
I got a commercial license. I got a CDL. So
do you know what a license is? Do you know one of the definitions of license? It's called an abuse of liberty.
Okay, when I get a ticket, I'm not operating in a commercial capacity, though. I got a CDL. You might have a driver's license. I have a CDL. It's when I drive an 18-wheeler. Now, when I'm driving a car, if they want to presume a CDL also covers driving an automobile.
My friend, Karl, please. You're just arguing, my friend. You're in this society whether you like it or not. And do you remember that I said if you have rights, you got duties? In other words, rights and duties are correlative. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't like that thought, then you better go. I had a guy ask me the other day, what if they're privatizing the electricity and this and that? Well, don't use their electricity. Don't use the roads. Don't use all the wonderful blessings and benefits that the society provides. And don't learn how to sail the sea of commerce. Stick on some dumbass programs that are taught by dumbass gurus out there.
Mr. Hall, I'm supposed to argue when I go to court.
You are not me. You are not me. Ladies and Johnny, Karl here is a polemist extraordinaire. He's got all these wonderful ideas. Karl, I'm not going to be able to disabuse you of any of these ideas, my friend. I've got a problem. Maybe you could help me with it. Karl,
okay.
Every time I go, I've won dozens and dozens and dozens of cases, and I've had a few gurus talk to me and tell me, Gordon, you got it wrong. And I said, well, I appreciate it. And I'm going to tell you the same thing, Karl. I keep winning my cases, brother, using this process that don't work, that everybody disagrees with, like you disagree with it. I should go in and argue, go and do it this way, not my way. So I need help from you, brother. I need you to help me to learn why I want to go in and argue like you do and not win anything and do it right instead of keep doing it wrong and winning all my cases when the clients listen. So how are you going to help me get there?
Can I ask, let me just tell you the word argue. If you want to look at the word argue, it actually
Tell me how to help me. Help me, my friend. If I go in and argue, I lose. If I tell my clients argue, I lose. But if I keep telling them to go to harmony and under God like I do, I keep winning. So I need you to help me cut the shit. Why don't you tell me how I can learn to do this wrong and argue and fight and win no cases and want to do that from now on? Of course, now my clients aren't going to be too happy with me.
Mr. Gordon, all argue means in Latin is to make clear, to make known, to prove or to declare or to demonstrate. I'm just trying to make clear. It just means to shine, to bring light, to be white, to be clear. That's argue.
Let me ask you a question, Karl. How many cases you won arguing?
A lot. Because you argue.
Then what? And then you're a CDL driver? You ought to quit doing that. You could make a ton of money getting people out of criminal cases with your beautiful arguing.
And argue means to make clear, to make known.
Karl, why aren't you quitting a mundane, dumbass job like CDL when you could make $100,000 a month going in and arguing?
Because to argue is not an argument. To get into argument means to get into a dispute. To argue means to make something clear, to polish.
I'm asking you why you don't go argue on behalf of all these clients and get them off and start getting the windfall from being a successful guy.
I do argue all the time, and I do pretty well, Mr. Gordon, and I'm just trying to say...
Well, there you go. Then rock and roll. It don't work for me, my brother.
So
let me stick with... Since my way works 100% of the time for me and my clients, why do you want me to go with your way when my way works for me and I cannot make your way work? What's wrong with me winning 100% of the time? Is that percentage something bad?
Because you say certified claim. I say verified claim. Do you know the difference between a certified claim and a verified claim?
Johnny, cut this guy off. I don't want to talk to him anymore. He's wasting all our time. He refuses to answer questions. He's a polemist extraordinaire, and it's a waste. It's pointless.
It sounds to me like he's trying to claim that that the court doesn't have a complaint. They don't have jurisdiction.
Brandy.
And the conflict it creates grants the jurisdiction. He's avoiding.
Number one, I'd love to hear about 2 or 3 of his tax cases that he's won with these arguments. Because if he's got that kind of record, he's got to line up down the block, and he don't need to be a truck driver, and he's living large. So on that basis, ladies and gentlemen, give me some other questions, or I'm going to sign off for the night. I can't deal with this.
Okay,
this
I
was
just
beautiful arguing.
Conflict, because that's what they want, the conflict. So if he's going to argue, he'll lose every time.
He says he's winning, and I can't verify the contrary, so, he must got lots of clients. It's perfectly okay. Why don't you bring him on the phone and give us a case number 2 sometime, Karl? But anyway, I don't want to get into it, Karl. Karl, if it works for you, brother, knock yourself out. I got to do what works for me and my clients. So, any other questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Amen to that.
What's that?
How do you get into the queue?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
What is your question? Yes.
Okay, yeah, the question is, if you have a case pending, how do you bring in one of those drafts into the court? If you have a case pending that's in court.
How would I bring it in? I'd carry it in if I needed to, but if I got a case pending, I would send it in by third-party certificate of service, brother. And if I didn't have the time, then I'd just hand carry it in.
Okay. Are you talking about a notary?
You asked me what I would do if I had a case pending. I said if a case was pending and I had time, I would use a third-party certificate of service, which would be a notary or a couple of witnesses.
Right.
Or I would hand carry it in, which doesn't mean a notary. It would be me hand carrying it in.
Okay. Good. You answered
or
my question.
if you had a friendly notary, you could have the notary come to court with you and serve it. Or you could have a third-party process server. There's a lot of ways to whip that cat. There's only hundreds of ways to do these things.
Would that go to the clerk of the court, the head clerk?
If I walked in a payment instrument, I'm going to pay it over an X1. I'm going to pay it to the plaintiff's attorney.
Okay.
If I want to file a payment bond or an indemnity bond or a surety bond or a bail bond, I don't want to bring it into the plaintiff's attorney. I got to get it to the clerk of the court. And that you better do in some way. There's nothing wrong with me bringing it in the morning and handing it to them and giving a copy of what was filed for the judge.
Okay. Thank you. Good answer.
All right. Next question. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yes?
Hey, Gordon, what's the definition of polemist? You call that guy a polemist. I can't find it.
Polemics, 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 the art of disputation.
Okay, I was spelling it wrong.
See, he only wanted to argue. He didn't want an argument. He just wanted to make clear things.
Right.
But to me, it sounded like an argument, so I don't work well with it. And I can't have a one-sided conversation.
You get a lot of those on this call.
Not really. Sometimes people don't understand my question, and that's not always their fault. It's my fault, too. Sometimes I'm not very clear. That's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. I sometimes foul things up.
Yeah.
Gordon, it's Tim from Boston.
Yes, Tim.
What is your definition of a swear word?
An expletive?
Yes.
Well, it would be like, F word and a-hole and shit and damn and fuck and all that stuff.
Oh, you blew it. Okay.
Sorry, fellas and ladies. Excuse those horrible words.
Thanks. That was it.
When I was cursing, it just shows such a lack of IQ, and a lack of vocabulary and a lack of self-control, and I don't have any excuse. I got 2 words for that. Forgive me.
Forgiven.
That's all I can. Thanks. That's all what can I tell you? I'm trying harder and harder, and I'll get better and better, and I'll learn to be more patient one day, too, as soon as I'm not working 7 freaking days of the week, from in the morning till night every single day, and morning calls on Sunday at 4 and 5 and 6 a.m., etc. Because I don't know why people insist on calling me, because they forget sometimes. They don't understand they're East Coast, I'm West Coast. And there's all sorts of reasons. Not everybody's malicious about it. They're just insensitive sometimes, or they didn't know. And it's just life, Welcome to the real world. Welcome to our world.
Well, thank you.
All right. Other questions, ladies and gentlemen? If you go back and review this, the things are getting better and better, and it's getting so cool, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you, we're going to start having an avalanche of successes by lots of you out there, because this stuff is just getting down where there isn't going to be, I'd like to think, not a whole lot more changes based on some of this. So I'm so looking forward to it. But, we'll see how she goes. We got lots of people in the middle, some wonderful court cases. They're going to be a lot of fun to talk about. And so I'm hoping to see some more of these unravel, some of these guys in jail that we're moving very interestingly on to get out, some of this new stuff we're putting on them. So it's going to be real exciting. We've just put together a new change in plea and a few things. Motion and order is going to be going in this week on a bunch of cases, so I'm expecting some pretty cool results. I got a little story. I got a client we picked up recently. This gentleman had liened a federal judge, and it's really interesting because he's been out on probation, so to speak, pretrial services with a bracelet while he's awaiting sentencing, which was to be November 2nd. About a week ago, he got taken into custody for 2 weeks ago, taken into custody for violating and traveling out of state without getting permission and this and that as usual. He's just didn't stick with his agreement. And so we just got retained over the weekend, essentially, and today we started filing stuff. He has a sentencing November 2nd. His name is Jay. We're just going to call him Jay. We're going to follow this closely. Now, Jay's attorneys are pretty cool in that they keep telling him the judge is really upset because he hasn't shown a single bit of contrition. I mean, he hasn't shown any remorse or anything whatsoever for leaning up a federal judge. And he says, I made a formal apology letter and the attorneys wouldn't turn it in. I said, so the judge is right. You haven't made a single effort to rectify it or show remorse. I said, it's because you got attorneys, man. And then last week his wife decided that she's had it with the attorneys. They are busy running their own game, and it was so beautiful because I told her all about 7 CJS, Section 4, attorney and client, his first loyalties to the courts, then the public, and third in bold italics, not the clients. And she said, it seems to me you've thrown my husband under the bus. This was the most beautiful statement I heard an attorney ever say. He said, man, my first loyalty is to the courts. She goes, Gordon, you've been telling me that for 2 weeks. Her friend Jack's been telling her for weeks. When the attorney finally told her, of course my loyalty is to the courts. That's why I threw him under the bus. I said, what are you upset about? She said, I can't believe he said it. I said, he's an honest attorney. He told you the truth. I love that guy. That's when she retained us. She finally believed him. Couldn't believe nothing else. She had eyes that couldn't see because she couldn't read corpus juris secundum, and we told her and sent it to her. She had ears that couldn't hear. Her friends were telling her. We were telling her. She finally asked the guy who kept throwing her husband under the bus. Wouldn't turn his letters in, wouldn't do this, wouldn't do that. Showed up and act like he didn't know what was going along at the hearing. I said, aren't you getting it? They're doing their job. She said, I can't believe this. I said, ask him. She asked him. Oh, my gosh, it was beautiful. He goes, ma'am, my first loyalty is to the court. I love that attorney. Ladies and gentlemen, open your eyes, open your ears if they're not. Let the truth flood in, and the truth shall set you free. I'm telling you right now, if it's in accordance with the King James Version of the Scriptures as we understand them, agree with your adversary quickly, do your processes correctly, you can look forward to remedy 100% of the time for anything. I love all of you. Have a good evening. See you all at the top. Until next Monday.
Gordon.
Yes. Oh, you got me. I didn't quite hang up. Yes. What?
What is that, the corpus juris secundum, or in reference to the first authority of the court? I mean, lawyers. What did you say?
It's 7 CJS. Now, that's corpus juris secundum. That's the legal encyclopedia, my friend.
Okay.
So,
mm-hmm.
And I believe it's Section 4.
Section 4, okay.
Attorney and client. It's not hard to look up. Hold on.
Okay.
I got it right here somewhere. Just a second. I need more than a second. Give me a few extra seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Are you going to think I'm a prevaricator? One who isn't telling the truth. Let's see what we got here. Let's go to here. Let's see. There we go. 7 CJS, Section 4, attorney and client. His first, and then in italics. His is not in italics, but then it goes underline in all italics. His first duty is to the courts and the public, then comma, not to